Hi guys, and welcome to Old Wayz number 14. I'm Blackie.
And Bear.
And we're here to talk to you today because several of you, after our last installment, asked about outfitting a chuck box. What would be the things that we would put into a chuck box? Now, a chuck box is a mobile cook kit that's going to cover your needs when you're out in the field. Now, you can typically, these are used in Boy Scouts today and things like that, or like you see the old chuck wagon in the Old West movies and stuff.
Or reenacting.
And I've had them. Bear's done them both in Boy Scouts and reenacting. He wants to build another one. We're going to build one on his channel when we get around to that. So all the above can happen. It's just what all entails in such a kit. So the basic of it is it's usually a self-contained box. The box design may provide some feature advantages. Usually there's small storage for the small things that you need, like your spoons, your knives, etc., where you can pull out and grab one. There'll also be small container storages of cooking goods like baking powder, flour, sugar, hot sauce, stuff like that. And then you're going to have a stack of bowls, cutting boards, and then the actual cooking pots and pans. And I prefer to include a stove and some sort of fuel source in it. So that's my basic outlay. Now, what do you think needs to go in such a kit?
Well, pretty much everything that you've already said. But one thing you need to understand about a chuck box is it's highly personalized. It's something that you will have something that you need that we don't necessarily need, so we wouldn't make a space for it. But like he was saying, you need a spice box, you need a utensil box, you need area for your pots and your pans. That would be, the heavier the object, the lower in the box it's going to go. Somebody had mentioned in the comments about how awkward and heavy chuck boxes generally were. Well, yes, they are. In our application, they're meant to, like Blackie was saying, you want you to put your objects in last into the truck, first out of the truck. Your chuck box would be all the way up at the cab of the truck.
Often with a rope or something around it, so it's all the way to the tailgate, so I can grab it and pull it so it just slide to the tailgate.
Most truck beds today have bed liners, which are low friction, and you could probably just grab the handle on both sides and pull it out with not too much effort. If you're camping with somebody else, all the better. But say my phone was the body of the truck, and this is your tailgate. You're going to load everything, last into the bed, first out of the bed, and your chuck box will be sitting here against the cab. And as you pull stuff out, you're going to move it to the back, so that theoretically it's not going to leave the tailgate of the body of the truck anyway.
And it's how big a box do you need? Now, my old mentor Francis McGowan, who was a big, huge influence on me in this, he had a grenade box, which is about that big, okay? In it was a single burner Coleman stove, a bottle of fuel, a single 8-inch Dutch oven, one plate, one bowl, a cup, 2 forks, 2 serving spoons, a knife, and then like a bush pot, soap powders and stuff like that to actually clean with, and etc. And some spices, and that was that. Now that whole box didn't weigh 20 pounds.
Right. That's what I'm talking about when I say, put together for your needs, because that's all Francis needed when he was out camping in rendezvous. Generally, he went by himself. And, you know, a grenade box size container would hold everything that he required by himself for a weekend, with rare exceptions. You might be able to squeeze one more person in on it.
It was open topped, so you could see everything that was in it. When he got there to where he was going, he would pull the Dutch oven out. That's going to be either by the fire, because whatever, or over here to the side. He would take out, and then he would rotate the box sideways. On this top edge up here, he had taken an aluminum cookie sheet and screwed it into place. Just drilled a couple of holes and put some wood screws in it to hold it. That was a cutting board that could be cleaned. That was also a hot plate place where you could set something hot up there or whatever. And the stuff would fit in here like this. So it became like a shelf. And then on the side right here was a slot where he'd stand his knives up. And on this side was a little slot where the cup he had would lock in. So here's all his spoons on this side. So he would have everything at access and ready to go right here. And you could set it up on a stump or on a table or whatever, handy, close to where it's going to be. Or just go over and sit it on the ground next to the fire.
We told you in 13 that Grouch was a professional.
He's a professional. And so I learned a lot from that. Now, when I scaled up and it was me and my wife going, I needed bigger.
Right.
And so I went to a larger chuck box. Over time, it's become two things, really, between me and my wife, because we'd go camp out for a week, and we were cooking fancy a lot of times. And so there was a old ice chest. This is a 1960s aluminum ice chest that does not really hold ice worth a flip anymore. But it was perfect to put all your dry foods in.
Sure.
For a week. Then you had your actual ice chest that had all your cold stuff in it. And then about the same size of that ice chest was the chuck box, which was a wooden box like that. And it had a lid that opened up, and there was a pair of wooden legs on the bottom. They're just 2x2s, and that picked it up off the ground when you set it on the ground, right? There was another set of them on this side. So I could tip it onto its side, kind of like Grouch, and open this door up, and it had chains. That had an aluminum cookie sheet on it, and that was my clean area, cook area. I could knead bread there, I could whatever there, and be able to clean that aluminum cookie sheet quick and easy.
The ones that we had in Scouts were designed to feed 12 hungry boys and at least 1 or 2 hungry Scoutmasters out of each box. So we had 3 for our patrols, the 12 boys, and we had a separate one for the Scoutmasters. I have to, in total honesty, tell you that the Scoutmasters box was a little bit better prepared because we knew what we were looking for. And the boys, you know, theirs was completely capable of doing what it was supposed to do, but it didn't have all the little bells and whistles that ours did.
Which were easily lost.
Yes.
You know, something I
You
thought
ever
of.
known a 12-year-old to lose anything?
Woo! Oh, they weren't like us, where if you lost that pocket knife, you didn't get a pocket knife till Christmas. You know, unless you paid for it. So yeah, you learned to hold on to stuff. But something I thought about the other day, thinking about check box. Remember when you used to go to the grocery store and stuff, and they had the can openers that you screwed to the wall?
Yeah.
That you'd hook it up there and
Yes.
do that? We used to have one on the side of the chuck box
Yes.
for that. And you had the Coca-Cola bottle opener on the side and stuff. And I haven't seen a screw to the wall can opener. You know, and that's one thing. You're gonna need a can opener.
You'll have to go to the antique shop to find that.
I know, but I was thinking about that one day, and we carried aluminum foil to wrap up leftovers and put in the cooler, which today you'd use Ziploc. Of course, P38
Any true woodsman's going to have his P38 on his key ring.
Yep, or a Swiss Army knife with a can opener. I can open up cans. I don't know how many times I've ingratiated myself into boss men at businesses where they were in the break room or whatever hunting a can opener because they didn't have a can opener. And
Oh, well, let me help you out here.
click.
Well, that's a raise.
Oh boy, I head of security at the place I was at one time, and he had forgot can didn't have a pop top, and he was all fussing and everything going around the little kitchenette thing we had for a break room. And I said, "You want me to open that?" He said, "Can you?" I said, "Yeah." And I whipped out my pocket knife and opened up the can opener. I'm about halfway around, and he said, I don't like you having that knife up here." I said, "Do you want to eat or not?" You know, and I was at another place one time that we sold guns, and I had a key. That was my job, was to sell the guns. And so I had a key to the gun cabinets and all the ammunition and everything else. And I was in the break room, and I pulled out my Swiss Army pocket knife, and I was cutting up something like a pickle or something on my sandwich or whatever. Head of security says, "I don't like you having that weapon up here." I said, "It's not a weapon, it's a pocket knife, it's a utility tool." He said, "Well, the company policy says," I said, "you give me a key to ARs and the thousands of rounds of ammunition, and you're worried I'm gonna wig out with a pocket knife. If I wig out, we're on CNN. It won't be with a pocket knife."
When my brother was in college, he was sitting on a little brick wall sharpening his pencil.
Yeah.
And some teacher comes by and just absolutely has a come apart and a meltdown there on the sidewalk with him having his pocket knife. And he's just sitting there whittling, listening to her talk. And when she finally drew a breath, he says, "It's not a weapon, it's a tool." Just went right back to whittling. And she stopped. And she looked at him. She picked her jaw up and turned around and stormed off and never said another word.
Yep. But things like that, you're gonna need can openers.
Yes.
Serving
If you
spoons.
don't have one in your pocket on your knife, get you a secondary one. I remember some of these old can openers like he's talking about, they mounted to a separate brace. So you could go ahead and hook your brace to the outside and just get it out and hook it in, and you're ready to go when you set up.
You're gonna need serving spoons.
Yes,
You're
and a
gonna-
knife sharpener.
And knife sharpeners.
You're gonna need a knife sharpener.
Another thing to look for, I know a lot of people aren't big in cooking and stuff. This is one of the reasons we bring this stuff up to you guys. Look around Walmart or whatever, and what you're looking for is the plastic flexible cutting boards.
Right.
Throw one or two of them in there, and then take a magic marker and mark on the corner of it like vegetables, meat. Okay, so I pull that out and I put it up on top of my aluminum cutting board up here. Well, now I'm not dulling my knife when I cut through it because I'm hitting the plastic. Okay, it's one of the reasons we use. I know a lot of you thought, "Well, I'll put stainless steel up there." Stainless steel will dull the knife. Aluminum won't.
Oh, you can put your stainless steel.
But it's going to be sharpening the knife.
We were talking about these being customizable. If that floats your boat,
Do it.
do it. By all means, do it. But like he's saying, get you one of those silicone roll-up cutting boards and use it between your metal and your
The knife.
Yeah, and the knife.
And by labeling, this is meat, this is vegetables, and never use them for anything else. Well, another thing that goes along with this kit is your cleaning set. Now, back in our rendezvousing days, I had a big old copper planter that was about this big, that tall, that deep. It was perfect for putting dinner plates into and washing. And so that rode along with the scrubby stuff, etc. Because you got to clean this stuff. Whatever means you want to do. A simple pair of 3 dish pans, one sat in the other, goes along because, like Bear pointed out, you got your hot water with your soap. Then you got your rinse water. Then you got your sterilization water. Okay? So you're going to need a small container of Clorox or some other sanitizer. They do sell, if you look around some of your stores where you got all the dishwashing soap, there'll be something that says sanitizer. Okay, same idea. That goes into the last one. Why do you sanitize? when you get out there and you haven't been out here for 6 weeks, okay, you're going to put your chuck box out there. Assume that everything in that chuck box needs to be wiped down and cleaned. I'm not saying it's dirty. I know you cleaned it when you put it up, but it's had weeks to sit there without attention, okay? So when I go to pull all my spoons out, one of the first things I do is I set up all my wash water, and I take all the spoons, all the knives, and dump them into the sanitizer. I ain't got to wash them, just put them in the sanitizer. Any bacteria, any whatever that have got on those cooking utensils, plates, or whatever during the course of being stored, that'll kill it.
And please, don't get the lovely lavender smelling bleach or sanitizer. You want plain brown wrapper, common garden variety bleach.
No scent, no nothing.
No.
Because that can affect it. But then we take it, and I have one of them. I went to Pier 1 or something back years ago, and sometimes you find them at Walmart, sometimes you find them at the dollar store. But it's a folding dish rack. It's a wooden folding dish rack. You open it up and it's a V, and you can stand up all your pots and pans. So in my grenade box that I've got set up is my little personal chuck box, and we'll show these a little later on whenever we get around to the building. I set mine up, and then I set up on top of my aluminum cutting board, I put that strainer, and that's where I put all my plates and stuff for quick grab. If I need to use the cutting board, I can just move that out of the way. Just pick it up as a unit, sit over here. You will find what makes your life so much easier is having things organized to where a bunch of small stuff I can pick up and move, as opposed to me gathering up all of this stuff to move it over here, to gather all this stuff to put it back. That's very tiring.
And most of this wonderful stuff will fold flat.
Yeah.
So that it fits into the chuck box, folded up, and it's out of the way. The tubs that he was referring to hold dishes wonderfully. And all you need is one lid, and just stack your pans up, put your dishes in it, and put the lid on top, and you're done.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And having those 3 pans is a real advantage, because like I said, back in you want to do it super primitive. We used to carry we'd take an entrenching tool, and we'd get down on the ground, and we'd cut 3 dishpan size holes in the ground. And then we would take big trash bags and line the hole and put the water in it that way, and have a sink on the ground to be able to rinse and stuff with, and then we just put a canvas cover over the top of it. We've had good waterproof canvas where it was part of a tent, the tent got trashed or burned or whatever, and we had a piece of this odd canvas. We'd line the holes with that. Francis had one of them for years, where he'd get out there and dig all 3 holes, just heat up the hot water and pour it into the first one. Next one was the rinse, third one was the sanitizer, and go to washing dishes. And when he got done, he's done with all of it. He'd grab one end of the tarp and just stand up, and all the water went away, and he's good. So use bio soap, something that's not going to affect your environment. There's plenty of that stuff. Used to, it was rare. Today it's available. Something that you can clean dishes with and just broadcast it, not worry about contaminating the ground.
Right. Biodegradable. And you're going to need also to remember things like paper towels, biodegradable paper towels. You're going to need dish rags, because a paper towel is a great and wonderful thing, but with a paper towel, you've got the wadded up trash, and with a dish rag, dish towel, all you do is, finish wiping off what you're wiping off, spread it out on the cutting board and walk away.
Let it dry.
And let it dry. This is like I keep bringing back up, and Blackie keeps bringing back up. This is not complicated, but it can take a little bit of creative engineering.
Think it through.
Yeah. What do I need? What am I what could I possibly need? And then how am I going to store it?
go down to automotives and they have these red shop towels. They're 100% cotton. Take them to a laundromat or something and wash them. Don't wash them in yours. Why? The red dye may come out. So don't wash them with anything else. Just go wash them. These are meant to be rags for use, to be strong and durable and scrubbing car parts and stuff. You know, so they're tough. They're a rough rag type cotton. But wash them because a lot of that stain's going to come out. And you don't want to get it on your food, and you don't want to get it on you or your clothes. Once you've washed them, select 3 or 4 of those rags and take a piece of bank line, wrap it around a little stick or something and tie it in a good tight knot, and then slide the stick out so you got the loop, and sew the loop to the corner of the rag. Or go put you a grommet in it, that's fine. The point is, it makes for an easy place to hang the rag up to dry without having to drape it over something. And I can keep track of them. I used to have a small cabiner, and I had 5 rags, all over those bright red rags, and I just clip all of them together, and that went in the chuck box. If I needed a hot something to grab a hot pot, I grab one of them, folded it 3 times, I grab it and I can get a pot off the stove. If I need to sop up something, that was it. If it was just so bad and nasty and I could throw it away. They're cheap. I get like, what is it, like a dozen of them for like $6.
You get a big pack like this, about the size of this box, and it's like $4.
Yeah,
and they're designed to be disposable. They're cloth towels that are designed to be disposable. I think it was 12 when I was showing my mess kit. Pop the lid off my mess kit. There's my red shop towel wrapped around my utensils.
Why red? So you won't forget about it and leave it. It's easy to find them.
Yeah, and if you get it just absolutely so greasy, grimy, gritty, torn, ragged that you just can't put the thing back together, throw it on the fire.
Poof.
Just give it an honorable incineration.
Get you carry trash bags, carry Ziploc bags, carry aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is great for cooking itself. You want to look up aluminum foil packet cooking.
Yes.
And that's an old Boy Scout trick where you take, there is differences in aluminum foil, guys. Heavy oil is what you're looking for, it's thicker.
Right.
You're going to lay it out on that cutting board up there that we got on top of this box. We're going to cube up the meat, we're going to cube up the vegetables, we're going to put whatever, and we're going to fold it up. And you'll see how, and when they talk about how to do this, roll up all the edges and just lay it on the hot coals of the fire, or lay it on the grill, or lay it on a spaced up thing above your Coleman stove and cook it in the aluminum foil.
Yeah, they're called hobo dinners in scouting.
Yeah.
They're called hobo dinners. And one of the most fun things that my 2 younger kids and I have ever done cooking wise was the time I taught them how to make hobo dinners. And we were just at home, and we got out the heavy aluminum foil and made a hamburger patty, diced up our vegetables on top, slice of onion, some potatoes, maybe some squash or whatever happened to be on hand, and just fold it up and roll it down tight, not too tight because you want the steaming effect, and just wrap it up. And the whole package is, that big around and about that thick, and you just put it in your campfire, you put it in your stove, wherever you just happen to be, and let it go for what, 30, 35 minutes?
35 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's delicious, and you've got a plate. Just unroll it, and there's your plate.
I would take the heavy aluminum foil, double layer it, and I would take a Vidalia onion and slice it so I had about not quite a ½ inch thick slab, that's on bottom. Then I would put a couple of strips of bell pepper and maybe 1 strip or 2 of banana pepper on it. Yeah. Then I'd put the big old, 3/4 of an inch thick hamburger patty on top. Then I would put my seasoning and my spicings. I would fold up the outside of the pouch. I would then pour Italian dressing or something like that, or I put gravy on it or whatever.
You can also use Lipton onion soup mix when you're making the patty,
Oh yeah, mix it with it.
and just mix it up inside and then pat it out and put it on there.
But then there's the ultimate, which is the bacon burger.
Yeah.
The bacon burger is you take a half pound of bacon and you're going to cook it till it's about halfway done. Okay, it's not done yet, but it's about halfway done. Then you're going to take it off the fire and let it completely cool down. You're going to stack it up and you're going to chop it fine. Then you're going to take that and you're going to mix that finely diced up hamburger, finely diced up half pound of bacon into 1 pound of hamburger meat. Mix it together and make one patty out of it. And then you're going to divide it into how many patties that is, right? So it's got bacon bits in the hamburger that when you cook the hamburger will complete cooking the bacon. Then you're going to add cheese and 4 pieces of bacon on top of that. So it's a bacon burger. For those of you that want to make your cardiologist scream in pain, yeah, it's great stuff. But put that in that foil packet then and put it out there with the cheese and everything. And
I'm sure that everybody will agree that just in time for Christmas of 2023 will be released, hopefully, the Blackbird Cookbook. Don't you agree?
No.
That would be a great idea.
No, we're not doing the Blackbird Cookbook. Not yet. I got other things cooking first.
That was a pun, right?
Yeah.
Other things cooking.
Yeah. But back to, so, you know, you put it on the coals and you let it, or the stove or whatever, and you let it go, say 15 minutes and flip it. And let it go another, 10, 15 minutes and flip it. And usually about 2 flips and it's ready to check.
Yeah.
And what I do is I'll just carefully unroll it. And if everything's done, then you peel it up and set it in something, like you said, and use the aluminum foil for the plate, eat it out of the aluminum foil.
It cuts down a lot on your post-meal cleanup, and it also cuts down on the amount of trash that you're having to haul out.
Running you're going to be going out for these coming 3 days, okay? Make a menu. What are we doing for breakfast? Well, they want eggs, or we're going to do granola bars, or we're going to do Pop-Tarts, or whatever. Set up, that's breakfast. What are we doing for lunch? What we want for a snack. You can have 2 or 3 variations of that to get the basic idea. And then what are dinners? So if it's something that's going to be prep time intense, do it at home. Cut it up. Go ahead and cut the vegetables up and put them in Ziploc bags. Add a little bit of water to it so it doesn't dry out. If it's something that, like fruit, onions, stuff like that, just put a little bit of water in there.
If it's like a potato or something like that will oxidize, squeeze just a little bit of lemon juice in there too with it, and freeze it.
You can freeze it, or if it's going to be the 3rd day, freeze it. If it's the 1st day, don't. And what typically I like to do is I would take let's say a big steak, and we're going to do the big steak on the last day.
Right.
Okay, I would take that and I would trim it like I want. I would tenderize it like I want, and then I put it in the marinade.
Right.
I let it marinate 24 hours, and then I take it out and I put it into a quart Ziploc bag, squeeze all the air out of it with the marinade still around it, and then I put it in the freezer and I freeze it solid. And then once it's frozen solid, I will take it out of that Ziploc bag and I will wrap it up in aluminum foil, and then on the outside of that I'll put 2 layers of newspaper, and then I'll just take that closed, and that goes into a big Ziploc bag to go into my cooler so it won't get wet. That extra insulates it. Well, since I'm starting out on, say, Friday with a solid frozen steak, it's just adding cool like ice along the other ice into my cooler. By Sunday, most of my ice has melted and it's mostly ice water. Well, since it's in a waterproof container, it's still in that chill And it should have thawed out, but it's like it's in the refrigerator. It's still in the marinade, right? So now when I pull it out of that marinade bag, it's fully thawed out, unwrap it and everything, and I lay it on the grill to grill it. It's fully marinated, it's fully thawed out, and everything's beautiful. And I put all the trash back in the Ziploc bag to be disposed of.
Like you was saying, whoever's going with you, sit down and come up with a grocery list. It takes a few minutes. It's not that big of a hassle, and everybody will have some contribution to what is being served in camp. If it's you and your family, you know, mom and dad talk, come up with a basic framework, pull the kids in. Okay, here's what we're planning for breakfast on the first day. Would you like to add something to it? Here's lunch, supper for day one. Same thing for day two, same thing for day three. If it's just you going, it's not going to matter so much because you'll know what you want to take, and that's all well and good and great. Another thing you can do, vacuum sealers are very popular now.
Take your leftovers.
You know, if you have leftovers from something you've had at home, if you're doing, I have found that if I'm marinating meat, take it, put it in the bag, in a vacuum sealed bag, pour my marinade in on top of it, and vacuum seal it, and then pop it in the fridge for 5-6 hours overnight, and it really does a good job of getting that marinade in. And to my point, you see, Blackbird Cookbook is a Bible thing.
No.
Because we're getting off on a tangent here.
But the whole thing about it is the chuck box is your preparation out there. And once you learn how to run chuck box, the chuck box has its own spoons, knives, cooking stuff in it. You know what's there. If I need something special, because we're doing something special, that will be added to the box. But the box has a pre-set up. So I know I have a butcher knife. I have 2 steak knives. I have whatever my needs are. And you will learn to work around that and structure your meals around that. How elaborate do I want? I'm not a big cook. I don't want to have to do all that stuff, okay? You take your leftovers. So we're going to have, let's say, lasagna Tuesday night at home. Cook extra. The leftover is put into a freeze bag or into a seal-a-meal or whatever. And then that can be immersion heated once I got there. That's just a big pot of water in it. Take your frozen lasagna, still sealed up in the bag, and sit it in the boiling water and boil it for about 15-20 minutes. That will heat it up. That's a redneck microwave, is a pot of boiling water and something in a bag. So let's say that there's me and Bear and 2 other kids and whatever, and I've got a stock pot sitting there boiling. I'm wanting chili. So I take the quart freezer bag, note I say again, quart freezer bag. They're tougher, and use name brand stuff here, guys. I open up my chili and I dump it into it. I squeeze all the air out of it and I zip it closed. I set it in the pot. He's got leftover lasagna. He puts it in the bag, squeezes the air out of it, and he sets it in the pot. She's wanting to reheat the pizza we had from lunch. Put it in a bag, zip it, put it in the pot. You know, and it will heat up everything at one time. And when we get done, we got a clean pot of water, and we're going to eat out of the quart bag. See, I'm just going to take the bag, unzip it, roll the lip out, and just take the spoon and eat it right out of the bag. That's what goes in the garbage.
And if you don't have plastic spoons, or if you're using metal utensils instead of plastic, there's just enough water left, of hot water left in that container to wash.
There's your hot water right
There's your hot
there.
water to wash with.
You want to do instant coffee or whatever, dip the cup out and add water to it.
We have neglected
Yeah.
the single most important part of a chuck box,
Coffee pot?
Tabasco sauce.
Oh, well, some sort of spices.
Coffee pot's the second most important thing.
Some sort of spices. Spices are a way to change something up. So I remember on a wonderful camp out that I went on with my good friend Grouch, and he brought this big pot of chicken and rice. And we ate chicken and rice for lunch and dinner for 4 days straight. By the fourth day, I done cleaned out all the hot sauce and pepper and cinnamon and what else? There was something else.
Nutmeg.
Paprika. You'll start adding flavors to change it up. You know, good, bad, at least it ain't the same.
I kick in nutmeg because John Townsend would love
He
you.
loves nutmeg.
He would love you for that.
Oh yeah, but you add in whatever. And so having a small spice selection is always an advantage. Again, never try for the first time meals out there. Try all meals at home, recipes at home. If you can, and to streamline your time out there, it would behoove you to carry leftovers or to prepare something here and simply freeze it.
Yeah, leftovers, especially for day one,
Yeah,
because that's a quick, easy meal, and you're not going to be up to your elbows and getting everything prepared and set up. Just turn around and have to start cooking.
yeah.
Eat before you go, or take it with you, so that all you got to do is just sit down, unwrap a bag, and eat.
The usual pattern is day one, we're going to eat breakfast on the way. You know, stop someplace or cook at home and have a good hearty meal. That's the feast before the adventure. Then you're going to get out there, usually a sandwich or something for lunch, quick and easy, because you're setting up all this stuff. I don't want to be too elaborate. It's just a sandwich. Chips, sandwich, and drink. That's about it. Dinner will usually be leftovers that we're going to immerse in heat or whatever just to warm back up.
And that's just day one.
That's day one. Day two, we're going to have our breakfast. Then you're going to have your lunch. Usually it's something we're going to cook for lunch. And then dinner on the second night, be a little fancier. This is where we're actually going to take the time and cook something a little better, a little fancier, a little snazzier. Okay? Last day, we're going home, right? Breakfast is going to be super simple. Pop-Tart, something like that. Poached egg, boiled egg, whatever. Toast, a little bit of bacon, whatever, grit. Then on lunchtime, we're breaking down camp and getting ready to go. So that's going to be a sandwich or something, okay? If not just a snack, because we got a long way to go, we'll stop en route home and have the feast afterwards. You know, stop and actually sit down and have a nice meal going home. So that's a way to make it food-wise, culinary-wise, enjoyable to go through a weekend, you know.
We've made the point through the series, y'all know that we love cast iron, and we've encouraged you to get your cast iron out in the yard and practice with it. You know, before you go to the woods, take the time to learn your cast ironware, and we want you to encourage you to do the same thing with your chuck box. Take your chuck box out to your little fire pit or whatever you have.
Out beside your barbecue, whatever.
Yes. Take it out there. Do a couple of dry runs. Okay, this doesn't work. I can take this out and I can replace it with that.
Works a lot better.
And it beats having to do it in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
You know, do it in your side yard so that you can just, you know, put the pieces together and they work.
Having staples that you can just easily put together quickly and easily
Right.
out there. You know, yes, it's wonderful, but like instant pancake stuff. As long as I got butter or grease.
I have cooked boatloads of biscuit and pancakes
Oh yeah.
out on a griddle in a can.
Oh yeah. I like to take the basically the instant, but it's Bisquick's what it is. Blueberry pancake
Yes.
mix.
Yes.
And if I take that and I take my small skillet, I would take a Ziploc bag and I'll put a measured amount of the powder in and add water to that to make my dough. That way, if it's a little too watery, I can add a little bit more, and then I just simply clip off thing, and like a cake thing, I squirt it out. That way I'm not getting a lot of stuff dirty, okay? Easy to throw in the garbage and do. I can make my own pancake. Now, if in something I've done out there several times, I take that blueberry pancake mix. I take my small skillet, I take my butter and I butter it up, I set it up there, I put the blueberry in it, and I let it rise up, and I have the size of that skillet, which is about that big, it's an 8-inch, and it's about not quite a 1/2-inch thick pancake.
Right.
I then, when it's done, turn it upside down on some aluminum foil and just let it fall out of the pan. I do another one, till I got 6 or 7 of them. Let them cool. Now, once they're all cool, I take a piece of aluminum foil, sit up here, usually on the lid of a bush pot or something, where the lid's upside down, so it acts like a little stand. I lay the aluminum foil out on it. I put my first pancake on top, and then I go over it with cream cheese icing. I put my second pancake on top, I go over it with cream cheese, till I get to the 6th, and then I go all the way around and ice the outside of it, and you've made a cream cheese blueberry cake. Enough to slice in half for 2 people. I've done it with chocolate, you know. Take golden, is it Duncan Hines? Duncan Hines golden cake mix, and do this trick and make it like you're gonna make pancake, okay? Note the term, pancake, okay? And instead of using pancake mix, I use Duncan Hines golden cake mix, same way, and make these same things, and just use chocolate and make chocolate layer cake out there. Kids love to sit there like dogs starving, looking at you, watching you make this cake. It drives them insane. And you just take canned frosting and frost the thing. And we've done it for special events, birthdays. We're celebrating somebody's birthday or whatever, and I'll make them a birthday cake out there. It's pretty simple.
In Boy Scouts, we would do that, things like that, in the Scoutmaster's tent in our campsite. And, you know, we had lots of camp followers.
Oh, they'll follow you
When it came to
around.
mealtime, you know, everybody would show up with a plate and a fork and a lot of hope. And, you know, of course, being the scout leaders, we would share what we had. But
What was that? Canned? Not a whole chicken. Now, hold on. I can see it. You find it in the Mexican foods. It's not the beans. It's like the canned taco meat or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
I think I do.
But it's got that reddish grease with it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And we would open up the can and tip up and squeeze out as much of that juice as we could into a quart Ziploc bag and put like 2 big huge handfuls of half crushed up corn chips into it, and let them soak that up. And then you put a bed of lettuce, put those corn chips on it, drizzle some other stuff, a few peppers, and pour the hot meat on the top of it, and have, you know, taco salad out there or something. Oh, people hated us camping next to us.
When you're doing, leave room in your chuck box for things. In our South, it's going to be grits. Leave your room for a couple of boxes of grits, a couple of boxes of oatmeal, or a box of grits and a box of oatmeal.
Cornbread mix.
cornbread mix, that little boxed biscuit mix that we did in 6, or that he did in 6.
Yeah.
You know, leave you some room for things like that.
The Jiffy, that's what they
Yeah,
call
Jiffy
Jiffy.
biscuit mix.
They got corn muffins,
Right.
cornbread, biscuit mix, a buttermilk biscuit mix. That company has been making that stuff since the early 1900s, and that's what this was. It was for the people on these farms and stuff, these housewives that didn't have time. And even today, it's under $1
Yeah,
for a box. So you can experiment with them and try it.
yes.
Try making like a pancake out of the corn muffin mix. Those are good with
Cornmeal
with
pancakes
syrup.
are delicious.
Yeah, butter and
But-
syrup.
When you're done with your weekend, don't leave that stuff in the box. You know, get it out of the chuck box, take it back into your house, because it's going to be an ant magnet, or
Yeah.
a roach magnet, or a whatever magnet, a mouse magnet.
My personal set, and like I said, when we do the chuck box build on Bear's channel, I'll bring out my 2 chuck boxes that I've got now. But in my small set, like I said, I've got a grenade box. It's got the aluminum on the side and the extra legs and stuff. And I've got my small little set, a la like Francis McGowan. And then what I've got is it's a long, narrow ammo box, bigger than this, but it's about like that, with this type of pop over lid. And I put all the sugar, all the mixes into that steel ammo box, because that's bug proof. Click, close it, and then I got my cooler. See, and so between the 3 of those, I'm covered. And I've got it where they all stack together.
Be sure that you label them, because you don't want to be out there popping lids to figure out what's inside.
A great thing to do on your chuck box is on the inside, like Bear talking about where a door opens up or something lifts up. Go ahead and take you a piece of plastic, thin plastic. It can be one of them cutting boards. And take a Sharpie and write a contents for the permanent stuff. Not the stuff I'm going to add in, but the permanent stuff. Like this butcher knife, this whatever. And I mark my stuff. The butcher knife that rides in that chuck box has got a black handle. And so if that ever ends up, because I'm going to take the stuff in the house to clean it up, it don't end up in the drawer with my wife's kitchen knives. This is my knife. This is coming back.
Now, Mrs. Black, you may need it.
Oh, by God. She has confiscated so many WC knives and everything else for kitchen knives.
They're really hers. You're just borrowing.
I'm just borrowing. Yeah.
What's yours is hers, and what's hers is
Yeah,
hers.
love her to death, but by God, she never seen a WC knife she didn't love. And so I was going to do something. I came out and I looked up in my sheath in my study, and my old prototype that I've forever had was gone. I went, what in the hell? And I look, did I take it out? Did I lay it on the desk? Finally, I walk in the house and I said, have you seen my knife? And she said, which knife? I said, my old knife, my big knife, my Blackbird. Maybe? What do you mean maybe? And what it was is she was cutting up this rather tough chicken. And she wanted a sharp knife. So she went out and she got a sharp knife, but she wanted one with a little more backbone to it. So she just went out there and grabbed my knife and went to dismembering the chicken. And so after I had asked about it, about a half hour later, it was suddenly she wanted pizza for dinner, and here's the money, go get the pizza. When I got back, I found my knife. So she just snuck it back out there right quick. She was never going to admit. But what she
What's
do,
yours is hers, and what's hers is hers.
love that woman to death. Been married 32 years. I wouldn't take $1 million for her or give you a nickel for 5 more just like her. Well, guys, I hope that answers some of your questions. Please leave more questions down there if you got something for us to expand out. But it's kind of an overview until we actually start outfitting Bear's new chuck box. But you get the idea. It's a focused idea of what we need to cook, it should match the menu that we're planning to bring. The menu should reflect what I've got to cook with. So don't be planning on doing a 24-inch wide pizza when you don't have anything that big to cook with, or any way to easily cook it. See, it's also a great opportunity for you to expand, because there's a lot of stuff out there that Bear and I haven't played with yet. Dan Lutt's got one of them Chinese pressure cookers. It's got the screw down lid on, a little rattler up on top. That would be great for doing stews and stuff like that. I haven't got to play with them. I've seen them and seen them used, but I haven't played with them yet. But things like that, you're going to experiment at home. Prove it works. Prove you got the right recipe, then take it to camp.
And prove that you like it.
Yes.
If you cook it at home and you don't like it, there's absolutely no reason at all to pack it into the woods.
Here is your opportunity. Go get you one of them small 5 or 6 inch 3-ring binders. Okay? If they even make such thing, or one of the little small notebooks. When you find a recipe that you like that works, flip open the thing and divide it out, but say like chicken, under chicken, how to do the fried chicken, and you detail your recipe of how you did it in your language, so you know what you're reading. Oh yeah, that's what that means. I meant to say this, but I did this, and etc. How to do the foil packets, how to do steak, how to do this marinade. This marinade and this work real good. So you're planning on going out and you don't know what you're going to do. You whip out your little book and you start going like, the rodeo chicken sounds good. Okay, well, we'll do that Tuesday night. And the foil, we'll do that first night, we'll do the foil packets. That'd be easy. And that's how you plan your menu.
And keep it in the box. Keep it in the chug box.
That stays with the chug box.
Drawer. That doesn't go in the house.
And that way on the fly when you're out there and you're out with somebody else and they cook something, you go, dang, that was good. Can I have the recipe?
Tell me how you did that.
Write the recipe down. Go home and practice. And if you do it, you do it real well, leave it in the book. If you don't, tear that page out and keep going. I have tore quite a few pages out my time, like, dang it, this was so good when you made it, and when I made it, it sucked. And I finally found out, a good friend of mine that was old Mud Track, he was a real good cook. And several times I got a recipe from him, and it just never tasted anything close to it. Finally, I was talking to his wife one day, and she said, oh, good God. And she explained what it was. Is what he called this, it was actually this. So what he's telling me is in it ain't what's in it. So, oh, okay, that's what it is. So I changed to what he was really putting in it, and life is beautiful. He wasn't trying to deceive me. It's just what he called Mexican peppers was this pre-made up salsa, where I thought it was you had to go get the peppers and dice it up. No, it's pre-made up salsa. So. All right, guys, we appreciate it. Please leave any more comments down there. And we'll be back with Old Wayz number 15 quick as we can. So till next time, I'm Blackie.
And Bear.
Wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.